You know what you're doing?
Yeah, my dad was a Navy man. I could do this one-handed with my eyes shut.
You served too, didn't you? Dishonorable discharge.
You did some homework, huh?
Of course I did.
I flew helicopters. I was preserving some artifacts from a museum in Baghdad. When I was over the max load weight, crashed pretty hard. They got all upset, kicked me out. Bit of an overreaction, but what are you gonna do?
You say preserving, but you mean looting, right?
Well, if I didn't take them, somebody else would have.
Hello, listening people.
Hello.
Hello, Bartek. How you doing?
Good, good. How are you doing, kid?
I'm doing great, Daddy. I'm feeling so energized. I have another life in me, and don't worry, if I stumble and fail, I'll just reload. I'll just reload and we'll start again.
Yeah, and every time you die, it'll go... Broom.
I'll take your word for that.
I think that's what it does in the game we'll eventually talk about. But your name is Ryan.
And my name is Ryan, and we are here today on Spit and Polish Presents as two spitting young gentlemen who both happen to be Polish to talk about movies that come recommended, because this is Pictures Powwow, the show where we specifically do that. The original PP.
Yeah, we follow rules.
Unlike Polish politics, the second PP, which breaks rules, we follow the rules.
Yes, they break rules in politics and in their language.
Oh, wow, really?
That's just what I've heard, that Polish has more exceptions than rules or something.
In language?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So in language, like, you have patterns, like, you'll use the articles a and an before specific words that start with specific letters. And we also have, the I before the E except after C.
Yeah.
Except for, all these other words where that doesn't follow that rule.
Exactly.
So, like, Polish has rules as well, but apparently it breaks them a lot. I'm not that fluent in it that I can tell you what all the rules are, or like all the big ones they break, but that's just what I've heard. It's got more exceptions than rules.
I've never known this fact before, so that's a really good thing to bring to the pod just off the cuff.
Maybe it's a joke, but yeah, that's what I've heard.
I'm laughing on the inside. That's how good it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, jokes. If you don't laugh, then they're not jokes.
They're not jokes, they're just statements of fact.
Yeah.
There was a lot of statements of facts in the movie we watched today for the podcast.
I watched it yesterday.
Really? I watched it last night.
Yeah.
So, wow. But no, the rhetorical today. Because today is transitory. Time is a flat circle. It's a construct that we all have to pretend exists.
You're pretending to be smart.
I am smart, but that's okay. Thank you. I'm pretending to be humble. That's the thing that I pretend to be. Thank you. Please clap. But... Today we were recommended, today we're covering a film that was recommended from one of the listening people, one of our friends.
Yeah.
Stefan
Bradley.
Wow, you're going to give the full name.
Yeah, well, he's been on the podcast multiple times.
Give him the middle name. Do you know?
I think it's Lawrence.
Of Arabia?
No, Stefan Lawrence Bradley.
Is it spelled the same as Lawrence of Arabia or not? Because you can spell Lawrence two ways.
Well, it's spelt one of them, I'm sure.
Knowing him, it's spelled a third way that we just haven't heard of before. But Stefan recommended the film Uncharted from 2022, the film adaptation of the video game series. And that is what we do. We talk about films that come recommended. You, the listening people, can recommend movies to us. So if you have any, please make sure to hit us up on those social medias or our email. All of that's in the description below, but we'll hit it again at the end of the episode in case you need to hear it from our lips and mouths.
Yes, we will do that because those are the rules.
Those are the rules. And then next episode will be a pick from Bartek, and it will be a very important pick because we're entering October, which is spooky month. We love spooky month. We always try to do our best covering more spooky movies, whether they're direct horror or gothic or just have that certain aesthetic and mood of October and of the spooky time of year. Darker films. Sometimes they may be very light films, but there's a pumpkin in it. Who knows?
Whoa, shit, man. You're scaring me.
What's Polish for pumpkin?
Oh, God, I know this. What is it?
Spookiest thing of all, being asked to give a name of something in Polish.
I've had family members make pumpkin soup for me, but the name's escaping me.
That's okay. You'll find it for the next episode. You'll say that as the greeting. Instead of saying, hello, Ryan, you say pumpkin, or whatever it is in Polish.
Oh, and you'll be like, whoa, it is spooky month.
Whoa, he's got a candle in his mouth. And then the week after, it will be my recommendation. But for today, we're talking about, I keep saying for today or tonight.
For this episode.
Tomorrow. We're going to take a break right now. We'll come back tomorrow and talk about Uncharted,
Yeah,
starring
after these messages.
Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg, Antonio Banderas, and others.
Yeah, there's a cameo from a special person too.
That's right. There's a cameo from a very special person who you'll find out in a moment.
Their initials are NN.
NN? Oh no, who could it be? It could be anyone. But let's get into this fully. People, if you have not seen Uncharted, we are going to get into it fully, so recommend that you give this a watch for yourself if you're worried about the being spoiled on the plot twists and turns and so many things. This starts in media res.
Yeah.
And that means that it's an exciting film.
Yeah, it's like they wanted to start with something exciting.
Mm-hmm. This film starts as Terminal Velocity, the Charlie Sheen film. It just straight up is the best part of Terminal Velocity, but done differently.
Yeah, and
when I say differently, CGI.
They take an iconic set piece from Uncharted 3.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's where we get into this, folks. Histories. Uncharted as a total thing, not just this film, but the games.
Uncharted is a game created and developed by Naughty Dog.
Do they say that before you
No,
play?
I think that's just Crash 3.
Oh, it's only Crash 3?
Yeah.
Damn, the best. That's why it's the best Crash. No, we both have some familiarity. Bartek, you obviously have more than I do, but I'll just say I've never played a single one of these games. The only knowledge and connection I have is the fan film with Nathan Fillion in it and Stephen Lang. I've only seen that. Until watching this film today, I had never even heard Nathan Drake talk before. I realized that because the special cameo is Nolan North himself.
Yeah.
And is he doing the Nathan voice? Because when he talked, and they had him say lines, like clearly he was saying lines, you could just tell. I didn't have any recognizable, oh, that's Nathan Drake's voice. I knew he was going to be in the movie because I heard about that, I
think he was just relatively doing his voice, his regular voice that he kind of does for a lot of roles.
But I realized, I don't think I've ever actually heard any lines of dialogue from this game. I've never watched a cutscene. I've never really encountered any of this stuff.
I will say this, you are a fan of Video Game Donkey, and he brings up Uncharted in a couple of his more essay-ish videos. Like, he's got the video on voice acting, where he talks about Uncharted as an example of, doing really effective voice acting because...
True.
In the games, they record dialogue together, they motion capture it together, so it all flows well. So you probably have seen an example scene in that video,
right? But it just isn't leaping out. But see, I'm so naive of these things. I have a lot of assumptions about Uncharted just from its reputation and from looking at like the cover of it and what Naughty Dog, the developer, has turned into over the years with things like The Last of Us, which also I've never played, but you can't help but hear about these things.
Yeah, they had their platformer on PS1, their kind of multi-genre thing on PS2, and then for PS3, they went for Uncharted.
And I've never been that highly interested in playing the games. They just look okay. Like, I could see a universe where if I did, I would have been a fan, probably.
I think
but I
you
just
would
never
like
got
them,
around.
yeah.
I just never had a PS3. Who did? You.
Yeah.
You did. So how about you? What is your history with Uncharted?
Yeah, I'm more familiar with Uncharted. I've played for myself the first two games, and I've seen really good playthroughs of 3 and 4 by a YouTube channel I really like, That's Us.
Spit and Polish! Guys, we have a side hustle. We've been Let's Playing.
Guys, Ryan actually has played all the games. No, Chip and Ironicus is what they're called.
Oh.
Yeah, I played those first two games. They actually belong to my brother. He bought them just because, he liked the Naughty Dog games on the PS2 with the Jak and Daxter series. So this was the new Naughty Dog stuff, so he bought them. He never actually ended up playing them. I did.
Oh.
So I played those first two games back to back, and they were good games. I enjoyed them, especially their stories, but they just weren't really my cup of tea, so I was never really interested in continuing them. But having checked out those Let's Plays that I just mentioned before, like I actually found myself really appreciating the franchise more as like a backseat observer to
As a cinematic experience?
yeah, as a cinematic experience, but also that channel that I mentioned, Chip and Ironicus, they do really thorough playthroughs and they get into the nitty gritty of a lot of things. So I got to appreciate, all of these details about it, as well as them applying their own interest and in jokes to the whole franchise. So I actually do have quite a lot of fondness for the Uncharted stories and the characters, but not really all that much interested in, playing the games themselves.
A couple of years ago now, was it? I mentioned the Uncharted fan film with Nathan Fillion. I think we covered something and we brought up Nathan Fillion, and then I was like, oh, he was in an Uncharted
Yeah, we
thing
did Dr. Horrible.
as Nathan Drake, and I think you had a little bit of an eyebrow raise of like him as Nathan Drake.
I because the Uncharted film was announced around that time, and I remember another friend of ours, Oliver, mentioned, crazy casting. They should have just gotten Nathan Fillion. I'm like, oh, that's kind of random pick. I heard of this guy, but I don't really know much about him. And I think I mentioned literally that to you. It's like, oh yeah, he's really good. And then we watched it together. I'm like, oh, I absolutely see what the, what the deal is with that notion. He's kind of perfect.
And now we can talk about this movie. Oh boy, neither of us had seen this before.
No.
Did you have any interest in seeing this?
Not especially. This was just another example of, Hollywood is making an adaptation of a video game. They've cast, popular actors that don't really fit the mold of what I think of these characters as. So it's like, popular, Hollywood, miscast. It's probably just going to be another, forgettable video game movie.
Directed by the same person who did Venom.
Didn't even know that part, but yeah. So it was just going to be another, video game movie. People will see it, some will like it, some will dislike it, but the general consensus will be, nothing special, and then forget about it. And I think I remember YMS, he and Scoot, his friend Scoot, had a video where they talked about it for like 10 minutes, and it basically confirmed, all of those expectations to like quite a stabby degree. They really, really didn't like it. He gave it like 2 out of 10. So I'm like, oh, not only was it not that special, it's also especially bad. And I forgot about, all of the things they said, but just remembered that the general point that they made was it's not that great. Stefan himself said that he hasn't played the games, but he enjoyed this film for what it was.
Okay. So I walked in with expectations of it being poor because of just general reception. And, although Stefan and I both aren't players of the games, I think it's fair to say that their reputation is hard to avoid. And the backlash of of this film is also somewhat hard to avoid because I don't know Nathan Drake. I don't know the guy. I don't know him.
You don't know who he's about.
But I know Tom Holland isn't Nathan Drake. Okay, and not just because I've seen the fan film with Nathan Fillion, who's a very funny guy, but I just know that he is not that guy because and you can correct me again. This is my layman perspective of Nathan Drake.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Holland is a nerd. He's Peter Parker. Tom Holland's a little dweeby guy with a high-pitched voice, and he looks like he has a frog in his mouth at all times. And you just want to pinch his cheeks and go and rub his head and go, you little scamp.
Are you trying to say that?
And I think Nathan Drake is a jock dude bro who swings into a jungle and punches a guy and maybe has a quip. That's what I think. And so it's hard not to, even from my lamest perspective, go into this movie full of sunshine and optimism because a part of me just goes, yeah, this isn't Nathan Drake, even though I don't know the guy.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't say jock, but everything else, yeah, pretty much.
Like dude bro. That's kind of the vibe I get from just looking at him. Looking at him.
Not quite, but yeah, he's, he's a big history buff, like kind of like an archaeologist-ish character.
He's not a nerd.
Yeah, he's not quite Indiana Jones, but he's like more in that direction.
I got the perspective that he was like a more like dude bro version of Lara Croft. Like
Maybe. I haven't played Tomb Raider, so I'm not too familiar with her, but that's probably more
like an
accurate.
adrenaline seeker, thrill seeker.
Yeah, that's more...
Because
on
Indiana
the
Jones
lines.
isn't like a thrill seeker. He does it because it needs to be done. He has enjoyment. He enjoys doing it, but I don't think of him as like a devil may care.
Yeah, that's why I mean not quite Indiana Jones, but kind of like his capabilities
Oh yeah.
in a way, yeah. I will say that, again, we do this a lot, jumping right to the end, but like the second post-credits scene where it's set a little bit further in the future, he's a little bit more in line with that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, not quite there, but like he's a bit more like that.
But I did walk in and I wanted to shake those expectations. I tried really hard.
Yeah, I was
And-
similar.
And I went in because we've done a lot of video game movies, and video game adaptations have changed. Like film adaptations and TV show adaptations have become really great. And at minimum, I wanted to at least get the Stefan experience of I can enjoy it for the swashbuckling action adventure film where we solve puzzles, the Indiana Jones type movie.
Mm.
And I was so dismayed that whenever, and I'm not kidding, whenever they did the puzzle bits, they would drown out the dialogue and pump up music and do it as like a quick montage because the film thought that part's boring. And I was so dismayed because it's like, that's what these movies are for. The movie is for Indiana Jones to stick the staff in and have the sun shine down, and you have like a whole sequence of building up that, and you feel like
Those games are that too.
And this movie, I want to enjoy it on this primal level. And it's like the film itself doesn't want to do that. It just wants to... I actually don't know what it wants to do. Because I'm going to say do action, there's barely any. It's so far and few between. I don't know, but to give something positive, Antonio Banderas gives the best performance in terms of so bad, because his monologue that comes in the third act to explain why the fuck is here is so terrible. I was laughing, and then he, spoiler alert, fucking dies like a chump.
Decoy main antagonist.
And I laughed at poor Antonio Banderas, an actor who I truly love and respect, giving a sincerely bad performance. Like, it's not like, oh, he could have done... No, this is C grade level acting from him. And I know he's a good actor. I've seen him in movies recently giving fantastic performances. He was so bad that I couldn't help but be charmed. It came back around. I was like, oh, I love him.
Yeah, I just didn't really care about him all that much, but I figured he'll eventually, we'll get to the climactic point, and then, it all makes sense in retrospect. So, I don't really care about the scenes with just him. So then when he does get killed off, it's like, oh, I probably should have cared a bit more because now he's gone.
Here's how much I cared. When my copy of the film didn't have subtitles for his scenes, I didn't turn them on because I just knew that I didn't care enough. And guess what? I didn't miss out on anything. Didn't miss out on a fucking thing. Oh boy. But Bartek, you have history with the games. You have a love of the characters and the story of these games. So how was this?
So I walked in kind of similar. I walked in with low expectations, but at least hoping that, maybe I'll like it a bit more than, what I'm expecting. And to be honest, I didn't actually hate it too much. It was fine. Wouldn't say awful, but just fine. But one of the things I did walk in, wanting from myself was like, all right, let's try not to compare it to the games too much, because that could very easily be this episode. In fact, going back to what I was saying before about how we have rules, it seems to now be established that the only time we have Mark Wahlberg on is for video game movies, because I checked and the only other time we've had him on was for Max Payne.
Yes, I know.
And that was an episode where we had a guest where that was kind of their MO for that episode.
And I kept asking genuine questions about Max Payne and kept getting angry answers because I've never played them either.
No, neither have I.
So here's the thing. I fucking hated this movie. I was actually contemplating if this is one of the worst, feature films we've ever covered on the podcast.
Mm.
Because, at least with Max Payne, it was weird. You know, as all over the place as that movie was, it was weird.
Yeah, it was.
I needed some style from this. I needed life. This is a soulless film. It is a husk. There's no enjoyment. There's no love. There's nothing here that I would say is done with expertise. There's nothing here that I would say is done with verve, passion. There's not a single performance, let alone any scene that I would say, oh, that's a standout. Oh, that's great. All of it is, this is anti-art. This is capitalism at its finest. This is corporate machinery. And it made me never to want to play the games. That's how bad it is.
Right.
Before walking in, I was like, oh, maybe I want to play these games. And then I was seeing fucking Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland snipe at each other. And I know to my core, aren't they supposed to be friends in these games? I've never played them. And then I was like, you know what? If they're not like how I thought, I don't want to know. If this is how they are, and I doubt it, and I fucking doubt it, I don't want to play these games. This was the exact opposite outcome of what they want. They want to sell the games. And you know how bad it is? The movie doesn't open with a movie. It opens with the most spine-chilling thing I've ever seen since the Dark Universe, which was a opening logo thing for Sony PlayStation stuff. And I was seeing like on my fucking, for a movie, I was seeing like Ratchet and Clank and bullshit. And
like all these PlayStation mascot characters.
Like it's
Kratos,
a Marvel
Astro
movie.
Boy and all that.
Like it's a Marvel movie. And it just made me want to throw up.
Yeah, I think, what's the deal? This is the Sony Interactive Video Games movie first movie that they made, or something.
Slop, yeah.
I guess it's like a new division of the company because they have Sony Films, right?
Yeah. What about the Ratchet and Clank movie? Does that not count?
I guess that wasn't made by this division.
Yeah, doesn't count.
That was 2016.
But that's how the movie opened, and I actually just went oh at seeing Ratchet and Clank before this movie. It just made me very upset. I'm like, I'm watching a movie.
Guess it's like a promise of what's to come. Like, hey, look at all these people who get
I can't wait for their
movies.
fucking Avengers Endgame with Uncharted meeting Ratchet and Clank, meeting Crash, meeting
not excited
Kratos.
for the Astrobot movie?
No. So I had a very viscerally negative reaction to this. The movie opens up on what is supposed to be an exciting scene, and it looks like garbage. It actually looks worse than the games, from what I can tell. Like, it was CG crap. Anytime a character jumped in this movie, it was, why did they turn into a PS1 style character? It looked like all the they look so bad.
You know, I think that going back to that YMS review, I think that was Scoot's main point. He said something like, every time someone jumped in this film, I got pissed off or something.
They look terrible. Why is that the case? I don't know. And I know it's hard not to compare to the games, and I, having no familiarity with the games, a part of me wants to compare it to what I thought the games were, because what I think of the games is something with heart, and this doesn't have that. When Mark Wahlberg doesn't let him die at the end, I don't know why. Other than the movie says that's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, so the film opens up on two scenes. One of them is that, plane carriage trail in the sky, and then there's a flashback sequence. And me, who's familiar with the series, it's like, okay, that first scene is an iconic set piece from the third game, and then that second one was a version of a sequence from the fourth game. So they're doing like the video game stuff here. Then the third thing, you get to, Tom Holland as Nathan Drake on the train going to his job at a bar. And at that point, it's like, okay, now they're doing their own unique thing. But still, I didn't exactly know. I didn't walk in knowing exactly whether this was going to be a canon adaptation or trying to be in line with the games in some way. But those first two scenes, set me up for that. But then once you get to him meeting Sully for the first time, that was where it was clear, like, okay, they're doing their own thing. And I was a bit dismayed because the thing you're saying there about, like, aren't these guys supposed to be friends? Aren't they meant to have, like, a fun dynamic? Yeah, in the games, they've already known each other for many years by the time you first see the two of them together. And you get a lot of, information from how they interact with each other that indicates like, oh, this is the kind of history they've had. This is the dynamic that they have. These are the kind of things they talk about. They're showing off their own quirks and they're familiar with them.
And if you're going to tell a story about like, okay, this is the origins of this legendary character, the audience most likely haven't played the games, so let's just throw them in, give them the goods of here's a big iconic action scene. Now let's flash back to set him up of like why Nathan Drake is Nathan Drake. He misses his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And his brother was a thrill seeker, so he's going to try and emulate his brother. But he feels abandoned. And now he meets this almost father. It should feel like it's a father figure type relationship, but Mark Wahlberg, it's like, because they emphasize the brother so much, it feels it should be they're like a brother-like relationship. But Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland are so drastically different in ages, it doesn't work as like a brother relationship yet, but they play it like they're brothers. That's where the antagonism comes in. And okay, if you're going to do this as your prequel thing, I need to buy that these two like each other. It's okay to have them barb and snip, and this is the thing that like killed me throughout the movie. I need to like the central dynamic. It all falls apart if you don't like the central dynamic of any movie like this, whether it is a fucking 1930s comedy film like The Thin Man. I need to like the two married couple in The Thin Man, or else it doesn't work. Or I need to like Indy and Sala. Like, I need to like those two guys. Or Short Round, or like these type of things.
The main character and his deuteragonist, you want them to have a great dynamic because that's going to be one of the best things about your story.
And if they are ones that like bicker at one another, I need to understand where both people are coming from at least, so that way I can feel the conflict there. But Sully is on purposely treated as this mysterious guy that everyone just says is shit and you shouldn't trust him and is a bad guy. But Mark Wahlberg is Mark Wahlberg, where he just, oh jeez, oh man. And then you got Tom Holland who's like, oh jeez, oh man. You got two people saying, oh jeez, oh man at each other, and I'm supposed to feel like, oh, these two are brothers in arms.
Mark Wahlberg as Sully. A lot of his scenes just feel like he's looking at you like, what, you don't get it? This is what we're doing now.
You're right, I don't get it. But
are you coming to rob me? No, I was expecting you. Look, I made tea for you.
If this is the story of how Nathan Drake becomes a gallivanting adventurer, fine. And if you're going to tell the story where it's like they have yet to become best friends, and by the end of it they're best friends, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't happen. I don't buy it. When Mark Wahlberg is looking at the bag of gold and Tom Holland, and then he goes, oh, and he throws the bag, the classic, like, oh, you got to let go of the Holy Grail, Indy.
Yeah, sacrifice the thing you were going for the whole time to save the real treasure, your new friend.
And in the end, he still gets treasure anyway. He's still rewarded, so who cares? Indy had to let go of the Holy Grail. You know? In The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, like, They let Benny die because Benny wanted all of the gold. Like, that's... You can't... This is the thing where it's like, okay, let's take it on face value. Like, we could compare it to all these other movies, and it just doesn't get it. Like, in The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, which we've both seen, you like that trio. You like how Brendan Fraser's like this loud American who doesn't give a shit about, like, British aristocracy and rules, but then you like the brother and sister, and like how they are like proper people, but now they're understanding more rough and tumble ways, while Brendan Fraser's more understanding the more like civilized ways. Like, it's, what does Sully gain from Nathan Drake in this movie, and what does Nathan Drake gain from Sully? It feels like if they were on their own, they would have been the same anyway. They
even have a scene kind of early on where that question's kind of brought up, where Sully invites him along for this first little heist. And then he's like, all right, so this is the place. There's going to be an auction here. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to steal it. You need to turn off the power and create a distraction. And Nathan Drake asks him, oh, well, how do I do that? And then, Mark Wahlberg, like, what, you don't get it? Reaction of like, that's what you're meant to figure. You think I'm just cutting you in for no reason?
And throughout the movie, every character is told what they are, and then they're surprised what that character is. Chloe is going to betray you. She betrayed you. Oh my God, she betrayed me? I'm going to trust her again. No, she'll betray you. I cannot tell you I wish you were here, Bartek. I really wish you were here
Poor Ryan.
to see my jaw hit the floor when in the last 15, 20 minutes of the movie, whichever scene it is where Chloe and Nathan are like trying to figure out the postcards.
Yeah, in the hotel.
That's when I figured out she was doing an Australian accent. I didn't know that was an Australian. I thought she was just I thought like, oh, this actress is like, she's American and maybe she's got like a bit of her, I think she's Pakistani, the actress. I thought it was that. And then in that scene at the end, I realized she's supposed to be Australian. And my jaw hit the floor. And then I said, is that a video game thing? Is the character Australian in the game? Because it makes no difference in this film.
Yeah.
That she's Australian or American or British or, Pakistani or Indian or whatever. It doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, with me, because I've played Uncharted 2, I'm like, oh, yep, so they're doing the Chloe character. She's doing the accent, but it's kind of slipping here and there. I don't know if the actress is Australian or not.
No.
There you go. Yeah.
The one in the games is that I looked up, because I looked up after the fact, Claudia Black, who's also one of the most prolific Australian voice actors. She's in everything. She's good at accents, but she's Australian. So she's using her normal voice in Uncharted. But she's like...
The video game Chloe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this film, it's just some American actress that they hired, and they're like, that'll do. And I didn't know. This is a film filled with 3 people doing funny voices and Antonio Banderas. And Antonio Banderas doing his already funny voice. Because you got Antonio Banderas, he's full Antonio in this. He's just, every line is just sexy and villainous. And then you got Mark Wahlberg, who's fluctuating between, oh, geez, I'm Mark Wahlberg, and him kind of doing I'm an older man voice here and there. Like, you heard that, right? You heard him do a little,
kind of.
There's this one point where he just said, now listen here, Drake. And I'm like, what happened to Mark's voice? And then he went back to normal. And then there's fucking Tom Holland, who's British.
This was my first Tom Holland film, by the way.
You've never seen any of his Spider-Mans?
I've never seen any of his films. This is my first one.
Yeah, he's a little British guy.
Yeah.
And
I've heard him in interviews.
Yeah. Okay, so what are some things you want to say about Uncharted, the film? I'm getting very negative and just chewing into random stuff.
Well, the point that I was going to make earlier about how I was going to, try to walk in and not compare it to the games, as you've probably gathered from the conversation we've just had since I first started talking about that, it was kind of inevitable. It just made me keep saying, well, you could have done this, you could have done that, why did you choose to do it this way?
You can't open the movie on one of the most iconic action set pieces of the game and then wag your finger at the audience for them comparing it to the game. It's impossible. You can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and again, when they establish like, okay, we're going to be doing the origin story and this is of these two's friendship, and they start off quite antagonistic. It's like, oh, okay, so we're not going to have as much of the, fun banter, as it were. Like, they have their own stand-ins where there's a recurring thing about, and again, Tom Holland, much younger than you would want for a Nathan Drake character.
But if this is his origins, then yeah, he's young.
Yeah. But a lot of his quips towards Sully in this are like, oh, old man, you don't get how apps work.
I was really distressed that Sully had an app for a cat. Does he have a cat in the games?
I don't think he does. I don't remember a cat.
Oh, talk about the ages. How old is Nathan Drake in this movie? Do you know? I do, but I want you...
I looked up online, people were confused about it, and they worked it out, that he's meant to be 25.
I think he says he's 25 at one point.
Probably. I don't remember that.
So that raises a question. In the flashback, when he was a kid...
Yeah, 15 years earlier, I think it said.
How old was that kid?
Yeah, so he's meant to be 10, but the actor looks like teen.
He looks like 16 years old.
Yeah, and there was a funny trivia point about how apparently... those two actors in that flashback are the same height.
Yes.
So they had to make sure that the one playing Sam, the brother, had to stand on a box or they had to do angles to make the other one look shorter.
I had a good laugh when they had to transition from the teenage or tween Nathan Drake to Tom Holland,
on the
and they
train,
barely look that much older than one another. Oh my god, like, come on, man. Like, God, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, Tom Holland's not a bad actor. I'll give him this. He's not a bad actor.
I've heard he's great, yeah.
But this is not a film for him. You need someone who's... I don't know what you need. I don't know who you cast, but it's not Tom Holland. But he's second in comparison to Mark Wahlberg. This fucking guy, he's awful in this movie. Not only is he not clearly giving a shit, but he just is like a void of charisma. Like Tom Holland, he's trying to be charismatic. He's trying to be charismatic. And you may find that effective or not. Like some of the quips he had, and I'll be real with you, I thought just him and Chloe worked fine. I would have watched a movie of just those two. A classic, like, you know, a classic play on the man and woman adventurer, and then one of them betrays the other, and then the other betrays the other. That would have been fine.
Yeah, they were playing into those tropes.
I don't need Mark Wahlberg just talking about like how much pussy he gets in this movie. I don't need him to imply that he's like fucked Chloe and fucked the villainess and like fucked Antonio Banderas. I don't know. Like I don't need him here to be like this void of charisma. Like if it was just Chloe and Nathan Drake, I think this movie would have actually been a lot better. And I don't need Sully constantly telling me she's untrustworthy, because guess what? That's what a film's for. Let the film do that. Let her do that. Let her be charismatic and a seductress and win Nathan over and maybe win us over and then do a double cross.
Yeah, they were clearly trying to do a similar thing to what they do in the games, where obviously, you know, we learn about these characters' pasts from how they, you know, talk in the present. And a big thing
lived in history.
That's the games are very good about that, especially with Sully and Nate. And you mentioned before about like, oh, you know, I don't need to hear about, you know, how much pussy Sully's gotten, but in the games he kind of does that, and it's like charming. Like it's a kind of dynamic where they establish early on in this film that Nathan Drake is like, you know, a big history buff. He knows about this kind of stuff. He learned it from his brother, in fact. And so a big part of their dynamic is like, you know, Nathan Drake will be talking about like, oh, history, this happened, this happened. We saw that in the fan film, towards the end of the fan film.
Both the fan film and this were obsessed with Magellan. Didn't expect that to be the connective tissue, but both films rely on Magellan as the plot.
Yeah, that's a funny coincidence. But yeah, a big part of their dynamic would be like, oh, you know, Nate talks about, you know, history, this, that, and then Sully will hear like, you know, a country or a town that he mentioned, like, oh yeah, I met a beautiful woman there, kind of thing. It's like, oh, Sully, you know, you're doing your thing.
Both ended in the Philippines too. Interesting.
Yeah.
Sully didn't even smoke a cigar in this movie, did he?
I think he gets one in the post-credits.
That doesn't count. He also gets the mustache in the post-credits scene. That doesn't fucking count. Well, do we get an origin story of him getting a fucking cigar? Like, kid, I've taken up smoking.
Hey, kid, this is my first cigar. I think I'm going to keep at it.
I was chewing tobacco before, but now I've moved up to cigars. Like, fucking...
I thought those were only in the cartoons.
There was a scene that I couldn't help but be reminded that this was the director of Venom, where Nathan and Chloe are underneath the surface. They're somewhere. And he's like, golly gee, it's so dark in here. And I'm like, this is actually one of the best lit scenes of the movie. I'm not joking. It was like, this is not dark at all. And I was like, that was Venom. Venom will be a movie where it's like, it's so dark visually when it didn't need to be. And then when it needed to be dark, it was really well lit. And we're like, what?
This isn't my observation, but I read a YouTube comment relating to this film where someone mentioned that when they're in that underground part, you know, heading towards the vault, I think Nathan Drake has a line about like, oh, no one's been down here for 500 years. And then in the next shot, you see like electrical wiring near him.
That's great. They had that back then.
Yeah. And then someone else pointed out that, you know, this vault is hidden away and underground, but there's not too far away a grate up to the road.
Yeah. And there's also like a club next door. So I don't... Boy, oh boy. Uncharted.
Yeah, I
film.
There were a lot of points in this film where I could see what they were going for in terms of like adapting the games. And I did appreciate it a little bit on that level. Because the games, they do a couple of different things. You know, they do the banter with characters and, the sort of smart aleckiness. You saw that in the fan film. The fan film is very faithful to the games.
Yes.
So you can at least, rely on that for a point of comparison. Nathan Drake, sarcastic quips against people when they, say a line of dialogue where in the fan film he said something along the lines of like, oh, this guy needs a haircut, and everyone found it funny. You could see Tom Holland trying to do that, but in, I guess, a Hollywood film where you have like the pause between lines, you feel that awkwardness.
There's a difference too. I know it's hard for people to believe now. Joss Whedon and Marvel quippiness is different style of quippiness than other things. Like Tom Holland is Spider-Man. He does Spider-Man quips. And when he does quips in this movie, it sounds like Spider-Man quips. So that's different to Nathan Drake, perhaps. Because there's this scene in the movie where he's just like jumped across all of these big light bulbs on a roof, and then
club. That's awesome.
The security all up in his grill, and he's like, "Hey, I've got to get my lawyer," and blah blah blah.
Yeah, who installed those rails?
And his delivery of it, not the lines, but his delivery of it sounds so MCU. Compare that directly against Nathan Fillion, who was also in the MCU in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but he has a very different like quippy delivery style in general, and he was also in Joss Whedon movies, but like he has a different quipping style, and it just feels right.
Yeah,
like here's the thing that's really lacking. Now, I know maybe this doesn't happen in the games because of the limitations, but something that was really lacking for me with Tom Holland, and this is something that Harrison Ford does so well as Indiana Jones. This is something that Brendan Fraser is fucking great at. Face reactions. There was no like funny like facial reactions from Tom Holland. Like when you meet Nathan Drake in the fan film, one of the first things you get is Nathan Fillion given like these bug eyes, and it's just funny. You go, that's funny.
There's a part in the fan film where he's shitting himself because they're bringing in like El Tigre or something, and he's like scared. And then when he sees that it's like a really short guy, you first see the reaction of like him smiling because it's a short guy, and then laughing, looking around at everyone like, oh, you really got me, guys. Like that was really good.
And there's none of that with Tom Holland. He's so confident in himself at all times. I never feel like Nathan Drake in this movie actually has problems. He just is going to, it's fine. He's flying through the air and he smashes into a box at like 50 gajillion miles per hour. It's fine.
Yeah.
Because he's CGI now.
Yeah, I think even his first line in the film, obviously starting in media res in that sequence, like somewhat...
It just looked terrible too. Like that's the opening shot of our main character. It looks like The Room. On the rooftop.
Oh, the rooftop, yeah.
You
know what? I think literally there was a trivia point that it was filmed in like a car park.
Good.
Because that was the rooftop in The Room as well.
Yeah.
I think it was that sequence, yeah. What was I going to say?
His first line,
yeah. Like a guard is falling out of the plane and like he hits him, and then Nathan Drake like looks at him in a panic and goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean that." Like that didn't seem like a quip.
That's Peter Parker.
Yeah, that felt like, oh, this is like a young guy who's out of his element. Like this is our hero. This isn't the start of the film. This is clearly in media res because we have to know how he got here. So it's even the first line wasn't really a great first impression.
They have two hench people he has to deal with throughout the film.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Scotsman, and the joke is he's Scottish. And when I say he's Scottish, he just has a Scottish accent. That's it. Is he much of a character? No.
Yeah, he doesn't enunciate too well, so Nathan Drake can't understand.
Does he have funny things that he does? No. Is he physically intimidating? No.
Well, next to little Nathan Drake.
Yeah, but Nathan Drake can, like, flip up walls.
Yeah.
So it's not, you know what I mean? It's not the classic, like, big guy versus little guy dynamic where it's like, oh, you feel like the little guy has to, like, really fight to get past this guy.
This David has it way over Goliath.
It's not, and you don't have the glory, again, bringing up Indiana Jones, it's impossible not to, of, I'll just shoot him with my gun. Because Nathan Drake's too squeaky clean for that type of attitude in this game. I mean, movie, sorry. Even though, from what I understand, Nathan Drake like fucking murders people left,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
and center in the games.
yeah.
Like he's a mass murderer.
It's the big example of ludonarrative dissonance in the series, yeah.
But
It's like, hey, he technically has a big kill count.
and then you have the woman who becomes the main antagonist by the end. I found out a lot about her as an actress. I was looking her up. She's a Naughty Dog staple. She's going to be in one of the next upcoming games as like the lead. And she's in the Last of Us TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And she's in like one other Naughty Dog related thing. So she's like in their group. So it explained a lot to me about her in this film.
Like recently or historically?
Like within the last 5 years.
Okay.
But and she's an upcoming actress. She's only got a handful, but like a quarter of her work is doing Naughty Dog things. You know, like I've seen her in a TV show, but why I bring this up is she's not scary. She's not intimidating. You don't believe that she is like a muscle. You don't believe that she's someone that Mark Wahlberg's afraid of. You don't believe that she could just kill Antonio Banderas real quickly. Like, you just don't believe it. She is so made up and pretty. Like, her hairstyle is ludicrous. Like, the way it's constructed. For me to believe that she's supposed to be like this hardened, militant, crim assassin type. Like, I would believe her if she was more like the seductress, type. If she was more of the...
She's introduced as like a femme fatale kind
the
of
femme
character,
fatale, but by the end, she's supposed to be like Jaws from James Bond. Like, she's supposed to be like this unstoppable monster that you just can't get rid of, and you have to drop a boat on her face. And you don't buy it. I don't buy it. I look at her and just go, you're too much of like here's the way to describe it. I know that this character is aware of what an iPhone is and is probably playing Candy Crush.
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy that she's someone who can like stab Tom Holland to death. I just can't buy into that reality. Like, she's just so made up. And when she was on the boat at the end and she was like jumping around and trying to kill him, I was just laughing and laughing and laughing because I'm like, really? This is not the role for this person. I need to see, like, there's other actresses that could do this role, but this was one where I was just like, no, I don't. You're not selling me on this, guys.
Yeah, I didn't think all too much of her either. Especially because, the Antonio Banderas, fake out twist happens pretty late in the film. And at that point, she takes over. And it's not entirely clear if that was her goal all along or not.
Why? So, can you explain one thing to me?
Mm-hmm.
Nathan Drake finds the location of this boat.
Yes.
Could you explain how he did that? Because I was so confused of so he has these crosses and he stabs them into the correct color parts of the map.
Yes.
But then he just then he just twizzles it and then he just puts it on the map and goes, here it is. And I go, how does that work?
The here it is part makes sense. The twizzling was needlessly confusing. It's basically that, when the two parts hit each other, when you let them land down, they'll both point at the part where, that's where the treasure is.
Okay. But the way it was presented was confusing.
Yeah, I don't know why he twizzled it. At the end, when it pointed the thing, like, oh, that makes sense. But I was trying to follow along with the first thing he was doing, where he was like shaking it for some reason. Now, it's like two compasses finding the meeting point. That makes sense.
Could you then explain to me
how
did he manage to just drive his boat past the villains who were on a completely separate part of the Philippines? When he demonstrated that in the same scene, in the scene of the maps, he's like, they're here. And he points to a completely different location, way over there. And at the end of the movie, they find Nathan Drake because he drove his boat past them, literally right past them.
Yeah, they weren't far from the shore.
They were pretty much a walk away from the place that he is going to.
They're like, hey, there's a boat in the water there. Let's look in the binoculars. Oh, that's Nathan Drake.
They could see him with their eyes.
Yeah. I forgot the detail about how they're meant to be super far away. Maybe that was just bad intel. I don't know.
Or maybe they were like, this isn't it. We're going to keep going across the Philippines or wherever it was.
Oh, damn. Nathan Drake found the treasure in that very obvious cave.
I did have a good laugh that
That's a boat ride away from a hotel.
I like that Chloe betrayed him again. Very good. But I also appreciated, because this is a movie, that she's in a yacht and she's just in a full bikini. She's here to just have fun. Like, she believes that she's on her way to find this treasure. But when you cut to her, she's in a full bikini. Why? Think about that. Think about that. She believes that she's going to do some like treasure hunting Indiana Jones shit, and this is the only time in the movie she's not wearing like her appropriate like I'm treasure hunting gear. And you know why? Because she's on a boat.
Yeah, you'd think that.
Like at the end of the movie, she's on the boat and she's like, hey, and she's in a full bikini. I was like, what? Why is she in a bikini now?
If she was expecting to, maybe I'll have to swim underwater to get to the treasure, you'd think that she'd wear a wetsuit or something.
It was just that thing of, I thought about how at some point after portraying Nathan Drake, she had to put sunscreen on.
Yeah, to play Candy Crush on the yacht.
Well, yeah, I didn't have that much of a problem with that actress outside of the Aussie accent. It was the villainess who's the one where it's like, oh, she's playing Candy Crush. But yeah, so many weird little observations of the movie like that. Like he arrives at the two boats and then he like grabs his necklace with the ring on it and he's just like, we did it, this is it. And I'm like, I don't care, man. I don't know your brother. I don't know why this matters so much. Like I do, you've told me, but I don't feel it. And I know your brother's going to come back because we didn't get an answer on how he died or if he died.
Yeah, there was the first post-credits scene where he was in a prison.
And they didn't show the actor's face because they clearly haven't cast who will play the adult version, because the one in the movie is credited as young Sam.
Yeah, well, you'd think after Venom, where you had the villain of the next movie at the end in a prison.
Yeah, imagine if it was Woody Harrelson again.
Yeah, commit. You committed with Woody. Why didn't you commit with this guy?
No, I'm saying it was Woody.
Yeah, I know you're saying that, but still.
He's in a
I just remembered that this was from the same director as Venom, so I thought, I'd make the joke.
What were some other things you want to say about this movie?
In terms of, when you're making a video game adaptation, you do want to, on some level, have things from the games. And I did at least appreciate that structurally they did have a couple of different other things from the game. So another type of sequence that you would have in the games would be, we joked about this a little bit before recording, but, starting in a, common public location, a church in this case, going through it to parts, unseen, and then eventually winding up at like the hidden place, hidden away from public that only people with your talents could get to. That is a very common thing in the games. So it's nice that they had like one sequence like that, even though it was kind of undermined a bit by going to a public place in the middle of that, some underground nightclub, which was weird. And again, we started this, discussion talking about how this is a series known for its set pieces. This movie did have a couple of that. So, we started off with that iconic one with the plane in the sky. And we ended on like a very bizarre one where it's like these two ships that are held up in the sky by helicopters. That's the
Him firing a cannon from the helicopter, from the boat to take down a helicopter.
Yeah. So structurally, that one wasn't from the game. So that was like,
really?
Yeah, no. So it was nice that they had like an original idea there that did feel in line with something the games might do.
This isn't a story from any of the games, is it?
No, it vaguely touches upon elements of some of them. Like the fourth game has a lot of stuff about like pirates. So it hit a few beats from that game, but in terms of like the whole Magellan thing, like every game has its own like, this historical figure and their treasure kind of thing. I don't think they ever did.
Let's go to Atlantis. Let's go to the El Dorado.
Yeah, they name drop in the fan film. They name dropped some of the ones. Like I remember, it's like, and you found Shambhala. Like that's the plot of the second game. And I think Francis Drake himself was kind of the focus of like the first and third games. So when
Francis is their dad.
Francis Drake is the historical figure. that he's supposedly the descendant of.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, he had the
too many Drakes.
Yeah, he had the Golden Hind ship. What was I saying? Set pieces.
Yeah,
Yes. I was going to say earlier you mentioned how the fan film also talked about Magellan. I said that's a funny coincidence because, both of these two film adaptations pick the same guy. That wasn't from the games as far as I remember.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but...
So that's Uncharted. It's a movie that exists. Another element of the film that was drastically appalling was the music. I don't know what they were doing with the music in this film. Just the score, not even just pop music, but just the score. There's a scene where it's supposed to be like, we're doing a puzzly thing, it's so great, and it just sounds like generic, like cock rock music. And I'm thinking, is this the Uncharted music?
No, in fact, they didn't.
Why does it sound terrible? Because from what I get of Naughty Dog in the more modern day, their music's supposed to be like one of the standout elements. Like The Last of Us, both games has like spectacular music.
It's got a good main theme, and it didn't play it until like right after the second post-credits scene, over the credits.
I thought I read somewhere that when Nolan North appeared, they played a little bit of a melody of one of the themes from the game.
Maybe.
But the chord progression's different, but the melody's the same. So it's like fans hated it because it kind of like, it's almost like the song, but it's like you fucked the song in the arse.
I didn't notice the music in that sequence.
The composer is a good composer. He's done so much stuff, like mainly TV, but still, he did Game of Thrones. He did Westworld. Like, this is not a slouch. This isn't somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. And this is like one of their bigger attempts, like, to go into the cinematic world. Like, I can see on paper when they were doing this movie, they actually cared when it came to who do we get to do the music. We'll get the guy who did Game of Thrones and like a lot of these genre things. Because, and then up, like, their more new name. I respect that, but the way it came out was just so abysmal. It was just so disappointing, and like it took so much life out of many of these scenes that already were lifeless and listless to begin with. But then you add the music on top of it, and I just want to scream and just turn it off because it's like aggressively bad music. It's hard enough to like tolerate bad storylines and bad characters and like bad action scenes. But something about music, it's such a like a carnal, visceral connection you have with music. And if music's bad in a movie, it could be one of the biggest hurdles to get past.
Again, I didn't notice it, so when the film was done showing me scenes and we're in the credits and there was something I liked, I'm like, would have been nice if I noticed this a bit more in the film.
When they do video game movies and TV shows, we've gone past the point of them having the excuse of the original material wasn't cinematic. Mario Brothers isn't cinematic, so how can we make it? We'll make one about they go to a dinosaur dimension or whatever.
Yeah, some off-the-wall idea.
But even Mario, over the years, has gone on to have so many things. So when they make an animated Super Mario Brothers movie or whatever, you can do stuff. I don't know how well that movie does things. People liked it, but you can do things. And a lot like with stuff like Metal Gear Solid, The Last of Us, and Uncharted. Those to me are like the three games that really put their franchises, that put their flag in the ground and said, this is cinema. These are cinematic games. These are like movie quality games. Like the acting is, especially with the Naughty Dog ones, more so than the Metal Gear ones, but like these are proper. Even Metal Gear got to motion capture stuff and really went there.
Oh yeah,
like,
got there pretty early too.
Here's how we do like camera shots, and we think about the music, we think about this. So there's no excuse anymore to say, well, we can't make video games cinematic because it's been shown you can, and the games themselves show it. So why does this feel so video game like in comparison to what I imagine the video game is like? Because like when I hear about Uncharted, I think, those are the ones where it's like mainly cutscenes, cinematics, and maybe you're running around and there's still more like cinematic storytelling going on. But like You cut to this and you're like, oh, it looks like a PS2 game.
I was going to say it way earlier when I was talking about the, acting and the, pauses between lines, shot, reverse shot stuff. But I think also one thing to remember is that, even though the games are trying to be cinematic, the fact that they are doing, motion capture and reading dialogue at the same time, that actually makes it more theater, like stage play acting. So in an ironic way, the cinematic games are more like a theater play, and now you are making finally an actual cinematic version of that, and you're taking away the theater aspect of the, not doing dialogue between cuts and things like that.
I just wanted them to feel like they were friends.
Yeah.
By the end. You have to earn it in the movie, but even by the end of the movie, I didn't believe it.
Yeah, if they could have just done what you said before, what was it, lived-in storytelling?
Yeah, lived in history.
Yeah, if they could have made a film with that at least, that would be something. You don't need we bicker first and become friends at the end thing. Like, try to do it that way, the lived-in storytelling.
And even if you do the bickering and they become friends along the way, that's fun too, but you actually need to show us why they become friends.
Yeah.
What does Sully offer Nathan that Nathan doesn't already have, and vice versa? Because I couldn't tell you what that is by the end of the movie. If Nathan was solo throughout this movie, nothing would have changed for me, really.
Yeah, like you were even saying it earlier, like the stuff with him and Chloe would have been just fine.
They're all too competent and incompetent. There was a moment where I guess I didn't understand the geography or the communication. So, like, Tom Holland is drowning and he's, like, banging on the thing and he's like, Sully, help me. And we're cutting to Sully and he's in what was he in? He's in a Papa John's.
Literally in a Papa John's.
And he's, like, standing by the other keyhole and he has to, like, smash a glass window and whatnot.
Yeah.
I thought that Nathan was on the other side of that thing.
Okay, yeah.
I know he isn't by the end of the sequence, but I genuinely thought, because of the way that they cut everything, the way that that it was done, I thought, oh, he's on the other side, because that's how poorly communicated to me that puzzle sequence was. Because this movie, I'm not joking, it's so disinterested in the discovery and in the puzzle thing. The moment where they unlock the door to this, like, unlock the secret passage, Mark Wahlberg gives them wrong information and it shoots darts and nearly kills him. But the way it's designed, it's like, well, if there were people doing it for realsies, it wouldn't have killed them, because you literally have to crouch on the ground to get these keys in. So if Sully wasn't there and these two just did it on their own, they would have been fine anyway.
Yeah, the trap
doesn't make any sense.
Not aimed at the people who activated it.
Yeah.
Isn't
that nonsensical? Like, absolutely nonsensical. And like,
it's like the whoever designed the trap was like, oh, whoever comes here must have a third friend.
And I discovered something too. I was reading 102 Things. Someone made a joke statement about this movie, but I guess it's a thing to factor in about the games that this film doesn't have. But this film should have, even if it's not respective to the games. You need it to feel hard, because people are talking about, like, oh, this isn't realistic. The Nathan I played as died 50 times. And Nathan never feels like anything's an actual challenge for him in this. Nothing feels dangerous. Nothing feels of consequence. Nothing feels like it's actually hard to do.
Yeah, there was a trivia point too that was quoting Tom Holland in an interview where he was talking about how he wasn't really proud of his performance in the film, because he was feeling like, oh, I need to be like the action lead. And he felt like because he was so focused on that, he wasn't focusing much on, like, the characterization that he was meant to get across.
You know why he got this film? He was rejected. He's been trying to pitch playing James Bond.
Well, there was something like that in the trivia, yeah.
And they didn't want to give him James Bond. And so the consolation for that was, well, you get to be Nathan Drake. An Indiana Jones, James Bondian, like, guy running around, being suave, punching people, flips. This is your consolation. He's already fucking Spider-Man.
Yes, what an honor.
Like, Spider-Man's good enough, but no, he has to be Bond. Oh, he can't be Bond, so they give him Nathan Drake as like, that's why he's Nathan Drake. It's not because he's good, he is Nathan Drake, he would be good as Nathan Drake. It is corporate. This is anti-art, this is capitalist, this is meaningless, this is soulless, this is evil. This film's like evil. Like, it's just so nakedly transparent in not even wanting to be entertaining. I do think this is one of the worst feature films we've covered on the podcast, like just as a film, because even comparing it to the other video game movies we did, I can't help but keep coming back to, at least they were weird. Like Mario Brothers movie, that was weird. Like the whole dinosaur dimension in Dennis Hopper, that's weird.
Yeah.
And there was style. It was like a cyberpunk industrial style. And same with like Max Payne, where that went for like surrealism and like had psychedelia. And like Assassin's Creed has an interesting premise. Like, say what you will about how the film goes about it, you can't deny, like, as a science fiction premise, it's different. This is as old as cinema. The classic, like, you know, Indiana Jones is evoking like Silent Age, early talkie style serial stories. So Nathan Drake evoking Indiana Jones, which is evoking things like this is old as cinema itself.
Yeah.
So what does this have over it? With the video game, it's a game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it has over. It's interactive. This isn't. This isn't interactive. You can't say, well, the difference with this is it's Nathan Drake. While if you played the game, you can say it's different because you have the camera on his shoulder as you're walking from place to place and shooting guns, and you know you have Sully in your ear as you're walking around, and you get to, like, you know, spin around and do silly things and earn an achievement if you don't move for 30 seconds or something. Like,
yeah,
that's interactive storytelling.
So what you're trying, I think, if I'm following you right, what you're trying to tell me is that they need to make Uncharted the movie the game.
Yeah. Like the Ratchet and Clank one.
Oh, that was like, yeah, co-production kind of thing where they made it at the same time. But I'm saying, like, you know, a video game adaptation of this film.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It's like the Street Fighter the movie the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And they still get like Mark Wahlberg to do Sully and
Yeah, there was also another trivia point about how this was in development hell for like a decade, and
really?
And you didn't believe that?
I'm shocked.
And that Mark Wahlberg was originally cast to play Nathan Drake. and funnily enough, before I even read that, when I was watching the film, there was a scene early on. It was before they went to the whole, you know, auction heist thing. And Nathan Drake didn't know how to do his tie, so Mark Wahlberg did it for him, and Mark Wahlberg was talking to him in, like, you know, low kind of voice. And I was actually thinking, like, oh, you know, his voice, you know, if he puts a bit more into it, like, he actually could sound a bit more like Nathan Drake, like from the games. So when I read that trivia, I'm like, oh, okay, they kind of saw something in him at one point, but then he became too old.
So I don't recommend the film.
What?
It stinks. I don't want to play the games anymore. It's turned me off even the idea of it. Which is the best of them, in your opinion? I know you've only played 2, but like from your just general gist of them, which is the best?
2 and 4 seem to be the ones that people talk up the most. Possibly 2.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's the one where Chloe first appeared.
Is that the one with the train? That's the
Yes.
sequence I know of. I was shocked that they didn't do it in this movie.
Yeah, that game starts in media res with the train sequence, and then later on you actually have a sequence where you're riding on the train normally, and then you do the sequence again where you're climbing up falling off the cliff.
So you recommend the film?
No, I definitely do not viscerally hate it as much as you do. I'm actually quite surprised by that, but it's very throwaway. I don't recommend it.
I think we've just been treating ourselves to like really thoughtful, engaging movies that are seemingly simple, but then the nuances of the characters and the themes and the emotions. So then to just do Uncharted, we just did 3 Colors Blue. Like we just did, like I could list you, like if we go back through the last like 10 movies we've done, they've all been like relatively like, oh, and then we've done Uncharted.
Well, this is the year of
even the
old...
bucket list. As shit as that movie was, it was trying for something.
Yeah, I guess in the year of the old films, when we do a very, very modern film, it also kind of sticks out like a sore thumb on that alone.
So what is your recommendation to start us off on Spooky Month?
Sure. So I'm doing the same thing as last year, and I'm starting off with a Miike.
Oh.
Yeah, because
A Takashi?
Takashi Miike, yes, not Joseph Miike.
Are we doing audition?
No, we're not doing audition.
Ichi the Killer?
We're not doing Ichi the Killer. There was one so I was tossing up between two. One was one that, I actually kind of was in the mood for, but then I was also thinking about the sort of dilemma I had last year. Well, last year, for those that don't know, the listening people that don't know, we did Year of the Musicals, and I was saying that I was tossing up between, hey, he's actually got a horror musical film that would be like perfect for Spooky Month and the Year of the Musical. But I also really wanted to do Gozu because I heard such great things about it. And despite, the obvious choice of like, stick to the theme, you're only doing musical year this one time, I couldn't help myself and I picked Gozu. So I think just for a bit of redemption, I'm putting aside the one that I'm more keen on doing and going back to that musical film. So we are going to be doing was it 2001 film? Yes, the 2001 Takashi Miike film, which is called The Happiness of the Katakuris.
Oh, I've never heard of this. Takashi has so many films.
Yes.
So it's more likely that you haven't heard of most of them than you have. Unless you're him himself. I actually doubt that he would know all of the movies he's directed. I actually doubt that he would.
I could see it being a thing of like he tries to list all of them, but like he forgets one. Like, oh yes, of course that one. I did Crow Zero or whatever.
Oh, I did Gozu. I
did Audition. That was me.
That was me. Bow wow. So we shall be back to talk about that next time.
That what?
Yeah, what was it called again? It was called
The Happiness of the Katakuris.
The Happiness of the Katakuris, which is a musical horror film.
Yeah.
We shall be watching it in the original language with subtitles. I'm sure it's available online to find at places.
Yeah,
I hope.
I had a look at a certain type of website that typically has a lot of films on offer, and there was a copy of it there.
That's called YouTube.
I used to call it the what was it, the Port Town, but that one, the Port Town closed down, so alternative Port Towns.
Oh, okay. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So everyone, thank you so much for listening. We hope that you enjoyed our ramblings about Uncharted from someone who's played some of the games and someone who has no connection with these games in terms of actually playing them or seeing them. Just they exist.
Right.
Why didn't he play Crash Bandicoot in this movie? Why didn't it end with Tom Holland grabbing out Crash and just having a little play of that?
They didn't have a PlayStation with them.
I almost just want to end it there,
But no, unfortunately, we have to tell the listening people how they can yab at us.
We are available on Facebook and Twitter, and we have our email address, spitandpolished@gmail.com. You can hit us up on those to let us know your thoughts and opinions on things. We also have our YouTube, which has a comment section on each episode. We'd love to hear from you, and if you have film recommendations, please let us know. We'll add it to the list and eventually get around to it. This is the year of older films, so if you have any older films to pitch to us, we would love for you to do that.
Yeah.
We have a few months left, so please, please, please.
Yeah, and based on how the cycle goes, what does that mean? We only have 3 listening people choices left of the year? 4?
Yeah, maybe 4.
And one of them's going to be spooky, so...
There's older films that are spooky.
Yeah. Look... Just because this is the only, year of the old film doesn't mean we're never going to cover an old film again.
Don't you put words in my mouth.
Hey, well, just as, it's not the year of the musical anymore, and I recommended a musical, and you didn't say N-O to that.
Oh, you're correct. I didn't say N-O.
Yes, and it's too late to say N-O.
It's too late. I can't take it back now. We haven't done any other musicals this year, have we? We have.
Chicago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I've already broken that rule. The unspoken rule.
Yes.
But it was a rule.
Yes. But of course, if we're going to do another Mark Wahlberg film, it has to be a video game film, right?
Has he done any other video games? I don't know. I hope so. What video game protagonist would you actually cast Mark Wahlberg as?
I
know. He's just such a dopey guy. I just can't think of him like as a serious, like hardcore, like lead of a video game one. Like, I don't know who. He has to be like a goofy guy.
Yeah, let's see. Who would be good as? I feel like there's one
Mhm.
answer that we're gonna give. It's like, that's perfect.
And then we're gonna smack ourselves on the head and say, yeah, he really should be 2B in Nier Automata. Yeah.
No, Ryan Kirby. Okay, Mark, your line is, hi!
Mark, hi. What? No.
What? No.
I actually don't know. This is something I didn't think about this beforehand. I'm like, what video game character? Because clearly Mark Wahlberg wants to be a video game character. Could he be... He'd have to change his voice, which is always the biggest problem. Could he be Michael in GTA 5?
Yeah, I'm thinking something like an actiony lead set in like a contemporary setting. Michael could be one.
I want him to be Michael, to just play him like, that kind of older, like, I'm broken down, I used to be a badass, but now I'm kind of just going through the motions of life.
I guess, but he's so with it that shouldn't he be Franklin?
Mark, we have a special role for you, the role of Franklin, and yes, you are going to play it the way you think you are.
Yeah, I mean, we tell him that, but he'll just react to that with like, yeah, what, you don't get it? Of course I will.